Right. Hey, this is Brian Kajagian of ClassicRockHistory.com, and today I am here with a Grammy Award-winning songwriter, musician, poet, just a champion of the arts, a man who has done so much in his life, and he's also a recent Harvard graduate. And we're going to talk about that. Robin Batteau, how are you doing today?
Great, Brian. Thanks so much for having me.
I'm so excited to talk to you, even though we've just talked a little bit already. Um, But there is so much to talk about. But what I'm so fascinated about with you, not just about the new album, Ben and Sparta, that you have out that we're going to talk about, but your return to college 50 years later. And it's not just like a community college. You went back to Harvard. Wow.
Yeah, it was quite a journey. I dropped out 50 years ago or so, and to because the family needed money, and I thought, as every teenager does, well, I could just get a big record deal, and the money will bail out the family. So I did, and it did, and it was. I went on from there and just did music for years and musical kind of stuff, musical connected stuff, song connected stuff. And then the pandemic came along, and like everybody else, I was thinking, well, what the hell am I going to do? Just sit here, twiddle my thumbs? And I thought, well, so what's unfinished business in my life? I thought, well, I could finish Harvard. So I called them and I said, hey guys, I have just a semester left to get my degree. Since you won't hand it to me, could I come back and do a semester? And they said, well, sure, that's our policy. Why don't you take a summer online course? Because there were summer online Zoom courses, because the lockdown during the summer was not permitting any students on campus. But the so I took this course I thought that one of my lifetime fascinations was ancient Greece and ancient Athens and the culture and the things that came out of it. And so I said, well, I'll take a course called Introduction to the Ancient Greek World, taught by the wonderful Natasha Brzezinski. And I just fell in love with it. I was so fascinated and um, so seduced by everything about the culture and what it provided to the world thereafter. I mean, democracy itself, theater, theater itself. The Western world owes kind of everything to ancient Athens in the classical and archaic periods, seventh to fifth centuries BC, and the I in the first week of our class, we came upon a guy named Archilochus, who was kind of the Bob Dylan of the seventh century BC. And I thought, well, this is an interesting guy. And it turns out that Archilochus was a terrific poet, one of the great lyric poets of ancient Greece, and there were almost nothing left of his work. There were only like shreds of parchment, shards of pottery with his words on them. And because he was a singer-songwriter, just like all the other lyric poets, like Sappho on down, they all played the lyre, which is why they're called lyric. And they sang their lyrics, and they entertained. They were basically just like Bob Dylan and Taylor Swift and everything in between. And I thought, well, this is right up my alley. And I thought, and then it occurred to me that because of I've had I spent a few years doing jingles to pay the bills, and I thought, well, I can make a song for a corporation out of little bits and pieces that are offered by the ad agency for me to put together into a song. Maybe I can make a song out of Archilochus's
Wow.
pieces. So I started putting this stuff together, and then felt like, well, like a paleontologist with a T-Rex skeleton that needs a few bones fashioned in the lab, because they weren't found in the field. I fashioned a few lyrics to make the mosaic of Archilochus's writings into a song. And when I finished what I'd done, I was moved. I was like, well, this feels amazing. And so I played it for the class. And everybody loved it, and I thought, well, that's pretty cool. And then later on, of course, we stumbled over other um, characters from the ancient Greek world, and uh, I did the same thing. I took little pieces of what they said and made it into a song. And if it moved me, if it moved my spirit, I thought, well, I'm doing the job of channeling this ghost from 2,500 years ago, um, and creating something that they would have made and they would have felt, and it carried kind of the spirit and the intention and the emotion of their writings, which were kind of in a jumble, but I could put together and make the stained glass window out of bits and pieces, and the light would come through, and it kept coming through for me, and so I signed up. So I did okay in the summer. I proved to myself and to Harvard that I still had enough brain left at 72
You did all this
to
in your first class back.
pardon.
This was all in your first class back to Harvard that you did
Yeah,
this.
this is my first class. Yeah, and then I decided that I would take all courses involved that had to do with ancient Greece
Yes.
for the semester. And I finished the requirements of my major, which is integrated biology, back when I was a sharp kid, sharp teenager. But now that my brain is somewhat dulled, um, the I didn't think that I wanted to pursue more science. I wanted to do more ancient Greece, and I just loved it so much and kept coming up with songs. And then it occurred to me that these songs, uh, to properly portray the voice of the ancient Greek lyric poets who were singer-songwriters, why not get some old pals of mine whose voices I first heard in the 1960s, which I think of as our own golden age of singer-songwriting.
Sure.
And amazingly, I would call the guys and they would say, "Yeah, sure, sign me up." And I just had a ball on all fall writing these songs and sending them to friends like Carolyn Hester and Tom Paxton and Eric Anderson, Livingston Taylor, Kate Taylor, uh, Robin Lane, who made a name for herself kind of in punk folk in
Sure.
in
Yeah.
the 80s,
I was
but
always a
in
fan
the
of her.
60s
Yeah.
she was she had this gorgeous voice. She sang a duet called "Round and Round" with Neil Young, and she just had the prettiest voice. And I also got some friends from a theatrical family because I thought, this thing embodies the spirit of ancient Greece, which was typified by theater. And theater Western theater kind of began in ancient Greece with the Greek chorus, which was a bunch of kids all singing in unison. And then there was the innovation by Thespis, from whom we get the word thespian, um, to have one step out actor with the chorus. And then the next step in the evolution was Aeschylus with the two step out actors. And then Sophocles, big shot, said, "Oh yeah, well, how about three step out actors?" It grew. Theater grows and evolves, and it went from ancient Athens and Greece to to Rome and Commedia dell'arte and on to Shakespeare in Berlin, and I thought, why not Broadway? So my friends James Naughton, Greg Naughton, and Kira Naughton, who were all great singer actors. James has won a couple of Tonys as best actor. They were all in on the project too. So I said, well, this is a natural to do as a review when with all of these guys on Broadway. And I've since talked to a couple of pals who are Broadway producers who say, no, you can't go straight to Broadway. You have to work it out, work out the kinks
Sure.
off off in the on the sideline somewhere in summer stock or something. And but we'll see. I'd rather just have it go straight to Broadway so nobody has to travel.
Yeah, as well, it's not easy to get something put on Broadway, it
No,
takes,
it's not, but there's lots of stuff on Broadway, and why not? So
yeah,
we'll
why
see.
not? And you don't seem like someone who'll take no for an answer. You're gonna
Right.
get it done. Well, there's a
Absolutely,
lot to
Brian.
unfold there. I mean, you just spoke about a lot of stuff, and
It means so much to me. This is an
I could see.
incredible experience. Here's the cover, the
Yes.
which is a painting by a Waterhouse, the 1800s, the great pre-Raphaelite genius, um, and it's called Banned in Sparta because Archilochus, although he was so revered for his singer-songwriting, was also so irreverent that he was banned in Sparta. He was irreverent about his mercenary sideline, and Sparta, which thought of warring as the thing, were offended. So he was banned in Sparta, and it occurred to me, well, this is great. Banned in Sparta should just be the title of my album, my next album.
Yeah.
And it's being banned has a great history. Like Lee Chatterley's Lover was banned in Boston in the 1920s. Batman comics were banned in Boston in the 1950s. Being banned somewhere uh, gives things energy.
Absolutely.
It's part of the I think I mean all of our rock and roll rebelliousness, whether it was real or faked, was in order to get attention, which being banned somewhere always does helps to sell books.
Sure, because people want to see what they're being told they can't see. Say, oh, you
Yeah,
can't look in that
exactly.
room. Don't look in
Yeah,
there. You're going to want to look in there,
absolutely.
you know?
Right. Oh, I'm not supposed to go do that. Okay, I'm going to do that.
Right? And think of all the pop moments that, where they've tried to censor something like,
Yeah,
Elvis on Ed Sullivan,
yeah.
they
Just drew
tried to
attention
censor
to
Jim
it.
Morrison, not to say, certain words.
Yeah,
We can't get much higher. They tried to do that to the Stones. And all that
yeah,
does is just generate interest,
yeah.
right? And
So, Brian, we're going to make you banned on YouTube for a week and see what
yeah,
happens.
yeah, that's all. Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's art. That's art. It's especially rock and roll is about
It is
rebellion.
art, and it's it's offering changes, and in the face uh, of the ordinary daily life, the rules of normalness. uh,
Sure. But what
yeah.
you've done is you've gone back really far. I mean, we've seen
Oh
a lot
yeah,
of
this is a
progressive rock.
Roots album. You think about, I mean, most Roots albums are going back to the roots of the 1800s and the blues.
Right.
These roots go back 10 times as far
Sure.
to the beginnings of I mean, the Pythagoras, from whom we get the Pythagorean theorem, kind of invented music by discovering what he did. He created the 12 tone scale by his first. He first noticed that blacksmiths hitting certain size anvils made different notes, made different tones, and he codified it. And anyway, ancient Greece gives us so much. I mean,
Sure.
politics, democracy, theater, sculpture, architecture, science, philosophy. It's just kind of astounding.
I have a Stony Brook professor. She studies piano with me, and she's the head of engineering, and
Hmm.
she's always asking me questions, that relate to the 12 tone scale, mathematical questions,
Hmm.
which she finds so interesting in
Hmm.
the relationship between math and music. And
Oh, it's intense. Yeah.
yes,
There's no question that so many terrific musicians were terrific sciencey kids, at the
sure.
same time, and had to make a choice. Had to make a choice between doing math or doing music. I mean, the greatest example is Einstein, who wished that he was a better violin player, and then we wouldn't have had the theory of relativity, of course. And
What do you
that's
think
another
that
thing
is?
that occurred in the era that you did your musical about, in the great Ellis Island period.
Sure. I mean, there's just I guess the fascination with mathematics and with science is just this sort of will to just explore life, to live life, and
Yeah,
to give back somehow,
yeah,
right? And you could do that in science. Of course, you could do that in math, and most of all, you do that in the arts.
yeah.
And it's
That's why we're here.
yeah,
It's and I think that the it's important for everybody. Here's a little advice from a geezer: just to enjoy everything every day as much as you can, because every time you enjoy something, you add a little joy to the world. And what the hell else could we possibly be here on Earth to do?
that's right. That's right. Because I'm an alumni of Stony Brook, they just reached out to me and they asked me to give a little bit of advice for incoming students, you
Mhm.
know. And I know they were looking for academic advice. I simply said, just be kind to other people because
Sure.
that means so much more, I think.
Yeah.
Just being kind to people,
Yeah.
which we've kind of lost along the way, I think,
Yeah.
especially in the past couple of years. And so,
Yeah, I think Henry James, the great American founder of psychology in America, said there are three important things to remember: kindness, kindness, and kindness.
there you, there you go. Yes.
Yeah,
So I mean, there's just so much that you've done, and you just gave this great, synopsis of your life there. But I want to go back a little, if it's okay,
sure.
to when you first well, let's go back even before Harvard. What inspired you to get into music? Was it,
Well, I was, I always played. I always played some music around the house, and I grew up in Cambridge. My dad took me to see Joan Baez when I was 11 in 1959. She was like 17, I think, and it was at the first iteration of the Club 47, which is the club that kind of was the center of folk music in America in many ways. And at that time, it was more like a diner. It wasn't like a, a coffee house so much as a coffee shop.
sure,
And
yeah,
they put Joan on to sell more coffee. That was why she was there.
that's the
But she
working
blew everybody
musician.
away, and my dad, who was a prof at Harvard, was kind of in the in crowd of what was happening around Cambridge, and Joan was it. And when I went to a music camp, started studying violin when I was 9. My parents, when I was 9, when I turned 9, gave me the choice of what instrument to learn. And I said, well, I want to play violin like my big brother because I wanted to be just like him, my brother Kim. And also it made it easy because the house had violins because of my big brother.
Yeah,
So I just picked them up and started playing. And then I went to a music camp called Kinhaven in Vermont, and just loved it from when I was 12 on. And the at the camp there was a guy named Harold Krentz, who was a blind kid who played the violin as well as it was a camp where you played orchestra and chamber music, and he also played guitar. And whenever he played guitar, there were a bunch of girls around him, and I thought, gee, I think I could probably handle this, you
yeah.
know?
There's something cool about that.
Right, right, right. Um, and so when I got home from camp, I picked up a guitar and the which I think my older brother had bought or my parents had bought for him, and started playing it and playing it and playing it. And I wrote it and started learning all these wonderful folk songs that were in the air at the time. This was like the Kingston Trio period, and the uh, I after learning a bunch of folk songs, I said, well, I'm tired of learning things. Let's try writing one. So I wrote a love song for my girlfriend, and my parents were so excited that I was writing a song that they called Tom Lair, who was a family friend who also taught at Harvard,
Yeah,
and said, "Hey, Tom, our son has started writing songs. Could we come over and have him play a song for you and see what you think?" And Tom said, "Sure." And Tom just passed away this week.
oh, yeah,
Sadly, he was the king of smart, funny songs, and if you don't, if you haven't heard of him, Lehrer, he's it.
Oh yeah, I just did a top 10 list of his songs.
Oh,
I
that's
had done a top
wonderful.
10 list of
That's
his songs a couple of
wonderful.
years ago,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
Yeah.
He was 97 when he passed away. He was with us for quite a while.
Brilliant.
And so I played my song for him, and he goes, "Well, Robin, it's a song." And, and, and whenever I talked to him thereafter, I would remind him of it, and he'd say, "No, no, 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 it was much nicer than that. It was much kinder." I said, "Well, what you said was so Tom Lehrer that I've cherished it, for
Yeah.
my entire life." And undiscouraged, I went on to write a bunch more songs. Had a rock band at Harvard. Had a folk club in high school. Um, and uh, when my brother, my younger brother, played the cello, and our friend John Compton was doing an audition at a club called the Sword and the Stone in Boston. Was and this was in 1967, and the my brother accompanied John played guitar and sang, and my brother played cello, and did an open mic and were hired by the club, the Sword and the Stone, to a gig, which is a big victory. Open mics to gigs are that's a fun way to go.
Yeah.
Well, then my brother, who was away at prep school, didn't wasn't on the same schedule as Compton, so unfortunately he couldn't make the date at the Sword and the Stone, and they both asked me if I would take his place playing violin in place of my brother playing cello and accompany John. So I said, sure. And so we did that, and we were rehired by the club and did a bunch of gigs then, and we're playing on the Cambridge Common, which had a wonderful Sunday afternoon series. Um, there was and we were quite popular then. We were big shots that summer, and on the Cambridge Common,
Local
big ducks in a
heroes.
little pond,
Yeah.
and it was great fun. The one of the kids who came up to the open mic was Jonathan Richman. You remember Jonathan Richman and the Modern Lovers?
Sure.
The
Yes.
wonderful character, and he came up and played a song which was just terrible because she's not uh, uh, not up to snuff in what folkies thought you should do. He was he was just different, and so the audience tried to boo him off the stage, and I had to go up to the mic and say, "Hey, knock it off! Everybody's here to get a shot, and you're here to give them support. So come on." Give the guy a hand and let him
Right.
keep doing this. And he played a couple more terrible songs. And 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 so I like to think that I'm responsible for Jonathan Richman's career
Oh,
because
that's
he
funny.
might have been so depressed from
Yeah.
being booed off the stage on the Cambridge Common that he never played again. But he made a wonderful contribution
Sure.
to what you would think of as, I guess, new age or semi-punk rock. It was and he's still playing, and Jonathan's still playing.
Everybody finds their way somehow.
Everybody finds their way. I
Yeah.
mean, one of the threads of folk music is that it's okay to be odd. Like there are a lot of characters.
Sure. Sure. Well, it makes it more interesting, you
Tiny
know.
Tim was embraced by the folk community. What a strange addition to the world that was.
Who was that you just said? I'm sorry, I didn't hear.
Tiny Tim.
Oh, yes, yes.
Tiny Tim was
Yeah.
embraced by the folk world and played in the Greenwich Village and stuff.
One of my the guitar player in my band was his guitar player, and
Oh, cool. How
he
would you
had
do
great
work with?
Tiny Tim stories.
Oh, I'd like to hear them. Cool.
Yeah, and he had just traveling on a bus with Tiny Tim. He would say Tiny Tim
Sounds
was
like the beginning of a song.
yeah. He said that he was what you saw. You know.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was him.
Yeah.
Genuine. And
That was
that's
him.
kind of what folk was, I think. It was it was when the people when the singer embodied the song. Before that singer-songwriter movement of the 60s, there were writers and there were singers. And Irving Berlin is a good example. He would write all these songs, but he's not known as a singer.
Sure.
And so it was unusual for somebody like Hoagy Carmichael to actually carry the tune. but it was other people that would make your song a hit.
Yeah.
Um, it was until uh, I remember the story of Ella Fitzgerald singing uh, uh, "Someone to Watch Over Me," and uh, uh, Ira Gershwin, who was the lyricist, he and George wrote it. He said, I never realized what a great song we wrote until I heard Ella sing it." and, and
Yeah.
that was the way of the world then. One of the nicest things about Frank Sinatra was that he always said the name of the songwriter after he did a song. He had
Right.
so much reverence for
Yes.
songwriters that he didn't write any songs.
Yes.
He could have, but he just felt, that was not the way that he wanted to do it, and thank goodness.
Yeah. There's that great recording he released with Count Basie at the
Sure,
Sands, and
sure,
you hear him talking like that all throughout that whole recording.
yeah,
You know.
yeah.
And,
He's got he cares, and
yes.
his legend. I think the echo of his legend is mainly sort of the mobster part. But that wasn't all of Frank. In fact, my little brother, the cellist, went on to be a songwriter in L.A. And he said that Frank Sinatra was the most normal guy in Hollywood. And it, it was
But
just a
he understood the
surprise.
importance of the songwriter, the importance of a
Yes,
great
yeah,
song,
yeah.
of a great lyric. I always, my students, I always tell them to listen to Sinatra because of just the way he phrases. You
Oh
know,
yeah.
I
What
mean,
choices. And like everybody else, he's trying he he he's trying to sound like Bing Crosby. Like every brilliant musician is full of echoes of other
of
musicians,
course.
and Frank's no exception, and uh, is it has all the humility in the world about what he does, even though he was the best.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, how could musicians not, be like you say, full of echoes?
Yeah,
It's impossible. I always try to when because I teach music and I have some really talented students that I run across, and I always listen very closely to them, and I'm saying, all right, where is the line here between genetics and what you've heard, you
yeah,
know? And okay, and then when you start thinking of genetics, okay, well, why is it in the person's genes? Where does this come from? You
yeah.
know? And I find that study very interesting.
Very interesting.
Yeah,
And there's something called epigenetics, which are genes that you can turn on through your life, and perhaps by playing some song, some epigene gets turned on, and all of a sudden some power that you had inside you but hadn't been able to express is allowed to express itself. It's genetics is pretty fascinating stuff.
I have to remember I'm speaking to a biology major here, um,
That's right. I
a
asked
Harvard biology major.
I asked the chairman of the department, so what is integrative biology? And he said, Robin, your guess is as good as mine.
I guess it's what you just explained. It's those moments that musicians talk about when they say, "I have no idea where it came from," when
Yeah,
they're writing.
yeah. It's
That's
like it's like fishing, or like waiting for a breeze to fill your sail, to fill your sailboat. And sometimes you catch a fish, something fantastic happens. Um,
yeah. Well, it's
it,
like those
it's
those moments on stage where all of a sudden
yeah.
something will just come to you. Sometimes
I'll tell you,
musically.
one of my favorite moments was I was accompanying Tom Rush at the Cellar Door in Washington D.C., which was the cool club in back then. And I'm playing this violin solo comes up, and I'm playing this violin solo, and all of a sudden, I feel like the violin is playing itself, and I'm just watching my hands do this. It was like scratching heaven. It was just
Yeah,
an extraordinary moment, which I hope to recapture. I reach to recapture again and again, though I haven't ever. That was the one. That was the one moment where it was like, wow, the music's taking over. The music owns me,
Do you think it
and
was
I'm
just the
just an
energy
instrument too.
of the moment of being on stage there, working with Tom Rush, where it just lit up some of those genes you were talking about there?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
it sure did.
You know?
And we had David Buskin and I accompanied Tom for about 10 years, opening for him and accompanying him, and that was a blast.
Yeah, you spent how many years did you spend with David? Was it like 10 years you guys were together?
We've played on and off for 50 years. We've
Wow.
got, in fact, we're booked at the Philadelphia Folk Festival coming up next week, and the we have two gigs. We have a Buskin and Batteau gig, and we also have an April Fool's gig, which is we've gathered friends, just brilliant, funny song friends, uh, like John Forster, of whom Tom Lehrer said, "You don't need me to kick around anymore. You've got John Forster."
Hmm.
And also Carla Ulbrich and the incredible Christine Lavin. These
Yes.
people write the great funny songs and tender songs as well. And so we put together this show called April Fools, where the five of us play mostly funny songs with a couple of romantic pieces. People expect that of us, but I'm not sure exactly what we're going to do this next week because David just got out of the hospital. He's got he picked up COVID last week
Oh,
of all things. It's still around,
yes.
and it triggered some of his conditions, and so he was in the hospital for a few days, and we hope that he'll be up to doing the Philly Folk Festival. But if he's not, we'll have to, you know, figure out some other way to present the music, and um, it'll of course miss something essential,
Sure.
but we hope that it'll be new enough and different enough to engage an audience and to make them feel like that David Buskin is represented there because we will do his songs if he doesn't
Sure.
get to be there to do his own.
Well, I hope he gets better. I mean, COVID's
Yeah,
a,
I hope he gets better
yeah.
too. He's in good shape. He's just got myasthenia gravis. He's got Parkinson's. He's so and when you get to our age, you have things that you have to deal with.
Yes.
I've taken a couple of bullets, heart attack, cancer, and gotten past them, and it's just it's the weather. It's the nature of it's the alternative to being 6 feet under is dealing with the slings and arrows of age itself.
Well, like you said, every day above ground's a good day. And you have to
Yeah,
think like that,
absolutely.
And I think, and you, like you mentioned, you have kids, correct? You have,
I have a 32-year-old son who's a sound man.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, look at, I mean, that's one of the things that drives your life, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
When you have a child, and I mean, I know he's 32, but he's still your child. And, if there's ever something in life to make you want to move on, keep going, it's always, a son or a daughter or both.
Absolutely. And I'm hoping he's a great sound man. I'm hoping that this band in Sparta Greek thing will take off and we can go on the road together and doing he can do the sound and I can do the band in Sparta songs.
Well, that would
And
be wonderful. Has he gone
yeah.
on the road with you before? Ever?
Yeah,
Or?
yes.
No.
The just a gig here and there, but he has other stuff to do, and he's got his own life,
Sure.
and every kid um, uh, wants to have their own path, and they don't just want to do daddy stuff or mommy stuff.
That's right. That's right. And it's, our responsibility as parents to let them choose that path,
Absolutely,
you
and
know.
and and offer guidance, but don't force it on them.
Yeah. That's right. I mean, both my sons didn't go into music, although
Oh,
my youngest son is in the arts, but it's kind of similar, from behind the scenes,
right.
technology and all that stuff, and so you never want to push your kids to do, especially music, because
Yeah,
anybody who's lived their life as a musician knows the challenges
yeah.
that
I
you
know it's a
face.
curse. It's a blessing and a curse.
Absolutely.
We
Yeah.
we get so much from it, Brian. I mean, it fills us up. I think the reason that we focus on music is because it just happens to mean that much to us, and so we're stuck with it. But
Yeah.
it's definitely a challenge. The jingles is the only part of the music business that pays you more than you're worth. Everywhere else, you get the short end, and the and unless you're a big shot. When once you do arenas, you're doing fine.
Yes, I know. But like you said, it's I've played many clubs for $50 a night,
Yeah,
and
absolutely. Me
and
too. And
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 done
that's what
five
you
sets
do.
of music, and
All
so
right, right,
you're like, wow, this is really
right.
below minimum wage here.
David
Um,
Buskin tells us the story of doing a $50 a night, playing 5 sets, and getting free drinks, while he's playing. And then after the 5 sets are over, he's bushed, and he goes to the bartender and says, "Listen, can I have a beer?" The bartender says, "Sorry, you got to pay for it." And David says, "Well, I was just wait a minute, the beer was free. I'm the act." He said, "Nope, your show's over."
yeah, now you're
Pay
nobody
up,
again.
buddy.
Yeah, it's funny because working the club circuit, you would know the clubs that the Irish pubs tended to let the musicians drink free. In all the Irish pubs we play, but some of the other places didn't even let us drink free, or it was half price. And so
Yeah, it's. I mean, you wish that every club would feel like the right thing to do is to take care of the musicians,
yeah,
because
no,
you want them to take care of the audience as
yes,
best they can.
yes,
And the truth is that to have a shot or two before a show generally makes you play better.
yeah,
Makes you puts you more at ease, more
yeah,
kind of it gets it's they should call it a social lubricant,
yeah,
the it just makes you get along. And there's nothing like playing music, particularly in a group, that is it's like chamber music. It's and like any kind of chamber music, playing with a combo. You just want to be in sync with everybody. You want to be able to do your best, but also feel what everybody else is doing and put them in a place to do their best. It's a little like, you know, uh, um, a basketball team, everybody doing their job, or Tom Brady throwing to Gronk and Edelman, uh, with the line doing the exact right thing to allow them to
yeah.
do that. And like just this weekend, I was at Tanglewood, which is this wonderful classical music get together every summer in Lenox, Massachusetts, and I saw Yo-Yo Ma and some pals playing some Beethoven, transcribed for a quartet, the Eroica Symphony and Overture, done as a quartet, and other pieces done as a quartet. They were so in sync. You could feel the emotion that they were all feeling with each other. Chamber music was always my favorite thing to do in the classical world, and I hope I get to do it more in the future. This was a thrilling concert on Sunday. I was amazed.
Because
One of the best I ever saw.
they
I
were
would
all
say
listening to each other.
you're all listening to each other
Yep.
and taking from it and giving to it and all working together. Um, it's a little like group sex, but group sex is much messier. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I've
this
tried to
this
avoid that.
works out. This stuff is great, and I was so proud of them. I'm so proud. I played with Yo-Yo once when I was a freshman at Harvard, and my friend Dee Dee Pei was a sophomore, calls up and said, "Hey, this kid, family friend, wants to come to Harvard to check out and see whether it's his kind of thing. Do you want to play some chamber music?" I said, "Sure." So I brought my violin over, and Dee Dee plays clarinet great. So we put out the music, and it's sight reading. Sight reading music is very exciting in chamber music because you haven't heard it, you don't really know it. It comes to life while you're doing it.
Yeah.
And so we played the Mozart clarinet quintet, and I said to Didi afterwards, the kid's great, and he told me years later that that was Yo-Yo Ma. That was like 11-year-old Yo-Yo Ma.
Wow. That's some story.
Yeah, it was good. And
Wow.
it's that piece. Interestingly, I played twice in my life.
Yeah.
The other time I was 14, I was doing a classical music party at my friend Lisa Bergfeld's house in Connecticut. And we're kids in the backyard. We have the music set up. We're playing some Bach or something. And this old fat guy from next door comes over with a clarinet case and says, "Hey, can I sing it? Can I play?" And we were all nice kids. And of course we said, "Sure." And so we said, "What do you want to play?" He said, how about the Mozart Clarinet Quintet?" And we said, "Well, sure, you got to have the music." And he brought out the sheet music to everybody. We played it. And afterwards, it was fun. And afterwards, I said to Lisa, the old guy was okay, but he played funny. He's like falling off notes at the ends, like, doo, doo, the sort of unclassical things. And she said, "Well, that was Benny Goodman." And I said, "Well, that's okay then."
Wow.
So that was, I do have kind of a charmed life. Just
Yes.
accidents happen, and
Yes.
wonderful accidents happen. Yeah.
Wow. You didn't realize it was Benny Goodman. That's amazing. Like,
Benny and Yo-Yo.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
wish they were, it would be great if they could have played it we could have all played it together. But
Sure.
the next life.
Yeah. I mean, you have so many stories and I mean, you're so cultured and educated. Any teaching in your future? Do you ever feel like doing something like that? Teaching a course?
I like teaching. I like giving advice and telling people what they really ought to do, but I haven't gotten the bug to teach a class.
Yeah.
And
You need
you know
that.
what I did one summer. My friend Penny Nichols had a series called Summer Songs where younger songwriters got to be tutored by older songwriters like me. And so this summer I did it, and I I was, hearing their songs and giving them tips and saying, what I would do and saying, you could do it this way or not, but this is what I would do. And some of them were terrible, but we supported them too. Some of them were okay, and a few of them, a handful, were wonderful. And so you wanted to maximize everybody's abilities and everybody's chances and to make a musical contribution to the world. And it just breaks my heart that a year after the summer songs and the second year afterwards, third year, I never heard from these kids again. They were so good,
Yeah.
but it's so hard
Yeah.
you play in the clubs and nowadays posting online and getting in line with the other 20,000 submissions to Spotify every day. It's to kind of break through the clutter is so hard. That's so much talent.
It's, when I was younger and I first got into the music business, I was like 22 and I dropped out of college because I got into this well-known band and
Cool,
we went to Atlantic City and we were playing Atlantic City.
cool.
And I remember, I had all those big dreams like everybody does. And I remember going from casino to casino because we would do like a 6 week run. And I remember going from casino to casino, and there'd be a band playing every 5 hours, daytime, nighttime, overnight. And every single band that I saw, every single musician, every single singer I saw was like seeing a Mariah Carey, a Whitney Houston, a
Wow,
John McLaughlin. Everybody was brilliant.
wow.
Everybody was incredible, and nobody was famous.
Yeah.
And I thought, maybe if I could just make a living, that would be successful.
Right.
You know, because like you said,
Yeah.
there's so much talent out there.
Yeah, there's so much talent and more than ever.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
kids these days are so schooled, the kids coming out of Berkeley and the music programs at every college that didn't exist when we were kids, like at the York courses. They didn't have those 20 years ago.
no. So you have to find your way as a musician, as an artist. You have to figure it out on your own and be able to make a living on your own somehow. That's really the key to it, and
Yeah, it's an odyssey, and there are traps along the way. There's Circe here and Calypso there, and all kinds of stones in the road. but you just got to keep going and just trust your gut and listen to your heart and
Yeah.
let the music move you.
Right. Well, I mean, I've said this many times before. You will know if it's in you because if it's really in you, it won't allow you to do anything else. Like
Right, right.
if you have that love is so deep to be an artist, a
Mhm.
musician,
Mhm.
songwriter, whatever, anything in the arts. If it's that deep, you're not going to do anything else. You'll find a way.
Yeah, yeah,
And not everybody's
yeah,
like that, you know?
yeah. I think it's typified by the great Billy Joel story about when he was so broke that he had to sell his keyboard. So he painted keys on his kitchen table so that he could practice the piano
Yes.
on the kitchen table without hearing it. Like
Yes.
Beethoven, just
Yes.
playing the keys. But that's what music meant to him, and that's why he came to mean so much to the world.
That's right. It was that honesty there in him and that desire and that love and that comes through. People see that,
Yeah.
you know? Um, so you're
And it
from,
can be in all kinds of different things. When I saw the Yo-Yo and Company this weekend, I was thinking, this is one of the greatest shows I've ever seen. I rank it up there with seeing Springsteen at Madison Square Garden, seeing Sly and the Family Stone at a place called the Psychedelic Supermarket in Boston, like a 600-seater. Seeing James Taylor and Joni Mitchell at the same place. Just all these different kinds of concerts were just like so exquisite.
yeah,
Such a slice of heaven.
yeah,
Um, uh, I felt sorry that the rest of the world wasn't there.
yeah. I remember seeing Springsteen at the Garden in '78,
Yeah,
and you know,
that was around when I first saw him at the Garden. Yeah,
yeah, Darkness on the Edge of Town, and that you were seeing somebody on a mission. You know,
yeah.
that was incredible, and I don't think the only other artist that I ever saw that had given that much on that stage was Prince, who I saw
Cool.
in the
Hmm.
'80s. Another one that just lit it up, and
Did he do a 3-hour show too?
it was. And I don't think it was 3 hours, but it was still spectacular.
Yeah,
It was still, you know, that man was special, and he gave everything he got.
yeah.
And
What's your favorite Prince song?
oh, that's a tough question. I would probably say something from the Dirty Mind album.
Okay.
I like that one. Um, I always loved Raspberry Beret, though. There was something very Beatlesque about Raspberry Beret.
Yeah, I love Raspberry Beret.
Yeah,
My favorite is Little Red Corvette.
yeah,
Which I had the job writing for a newspaper in Florida for a couple of springs. This was in addition to songwriting and stuff. Um, and one time I'm driving my red convertible by the road in Daytona Beach, and this song comes on, and I'm in a 30 mile an hour zone, and by the time the song is over, I look at my speedometer. I'm doing 90. I'm doing 90 in the 30 zone. I'm going, uh-oh. And that was Little Red Corvette.
yeah,
That song is so exciting
yes,
and just came out of nowhere. You know, it was not like anything else.
yeah,
And bang, bang, zoom.
yeah. That
Thank you,
was
music. Thank you, rock and roll. Thank you, Prince.
they. That helped him a lot. That they played that a lot on MTV when MTV first came
Yeah,
out. That was a big one. I mean, the whole Purple Rain album is amazing. Just
yeah.
a brilliant artist, and when you listen to how good he sang and how good he played guitar and how good he wrote, I
It's
mean,
kind of astounding. And these
yeah, yeah,
we're, we this we are blessed to be around when these talents are around and to have been here. There was somebody was saying to me, I think we lived in the greatest time of all. Listen to the music that we've heard since we were kids. Till today. It's all just kind of fantastic
yeah,
that we were here. We got to witness it all
yeah.
and be a part of it.
The concerts that I saw in the '70s. I mean,
Yeah,
seeing Led Zeppelin at the Madison Square Garden.
yeah,
I mean, that was like seeing God. I
yeah.
mean, that
Cool.
you know, that was like seeing God. I mean, you can't. It's hard to describe. I've written about that stuff many
Yeah.
times. And it's really difficult. You have to really dig into your artistry to write about those experiences,
Right.
seeing bands like that at at their peak
Yeah.
and what it was like in the 70s, in New York to see these artists.
It was a rock and roll peak, no question about it.
Yeah. And the funny thing is, we thought that would continue. Like that's just the way music would be forever, you
Yeah.
know. And and
Well, there's different mountains. Yeah.
yes, yes, different generations. And I'm glad to have gone, grown up in the 60s and 70s and seen all that stuff. And it's usually a thrill when I get to interview some of those people, from those
Yeah, I'm
times.
sure. Yeah.
Yep. Yes.
Yeah.
And to ask things, to interview bands like, Grand Funk and to talk
Cool.
about, when they played Shane and find out stuff. I'm pretty lucky here, with
Yeah.
this
Pretty
site.
darn lucky. Yeah.
It's a lot of work though, but
Yeah.
you know, um,
Hey, the
so
more you put into it, the more you get out of it.
that's it. It's that's what I tell students. I'm like, man, you work hard, it's gonna come back to you. You
Yeah.
know,
Absolutely.
nothing is free, right?
Yeah.
Nothing great is free. I'm sure there's some song lyrics that say that. You're from Boston, I guess, right? Well, you're from
Yeah. I
Cambridge,
grew up
right?
in Cambridge, right next to Boston,
So
and
you're a Red Sox fan,
Red
Patriots
Sox
fan?
fan. They're doing fine these days.
Yeah, yeah,
There was some concern that they really didn't do much at the trade deadline, but we're kind of glad they didn't because they're just doing fine with the group they got,
yeah,
and it's always kind of nice, to carry on to the to do the dance with the girl that brung you, and it's they'll be in the playoffs, and the playoffs are a crapshoot, of course. I think in all of the major sports, all you have to do is get your foot in the door, and you've got as much of a shot as anybody. We all see these upstart victories, although there is the occasional sort of supernatural control like the Patriots had on the Super Bowl.
yeah. It was
I
really
should say
tough being
Tom
a
Brady had seven Super Bowls, seven rings. The guy's got.
it was tough being a Jets fan all these years.
But anyway, I thought that last year the Jets were going to have a good year. I really thought that Rodgers um, would spark something,
Yeah.
and that didn't work out, and so it goes.
Yeah,
And
well, any Jets fan would have told you, no, we don't expect anything. We just
now,
expect
why
it to be
haven't they?
bad.
Did they have they just drafted terribly for the last 20 years? What happened?
They're cursed. They are
They're cursed.
cursed.
There's that.
It's,
Yeah.
I am completely convinced it's a curse. It's
Right.
Namath, to deal with the devil, to win that Super Bowl. I really
Right. That's
believe
right.
that.
That's right.
Yeah. I mean, if you've been going to Jet games as long as I've been going to and seen what I've seen, I just go there with my son and enjoy the food and beer, and that's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Good.
you know, and hope they don't raise
So
my ticket prices for the next
it's
year.
for an experience. It's not for a victory. It's not for a win.
I just want to hang out with my son and go to a game
Yeah.
and have some
Cool.
good food. And
Mhm.
speaking of food, so if I was to go to Boston, what would you recommend if I went to Boston?
Uh, well, let's see. I'm in Medford right now at
Okay.
my sister Yanni's apartment, and I would recommend.
What's one of your favorite places in Boston to eat?
There's a French bakery around the corner. I'm trying to remember the name of it. Oh, can't.
Okay. All right.
What else? Let's see. Uh, you can't go wrong with pizza in the North End and the Little Italy section.
Yes.
Um,
I've been there to the Little Italy section.
oh, cool.
They had
Yeah,
some pretty good bakeries there, I
they really
noticed.
do. Yeah,
Yeah.
they have lines out the door for the cookies.
Yes.
Um, and let's see. Uh,
There was a great seafood restaurant I went there that was close to Little Italy. I think it was called the Sea Loft.
the Sea Loft. Oh, I haven't been there.
Yeah, it was right on the water.
Hmm.
It was, I went there once one weekend with my son, and our mission was to find the best clam chowder in Boston. You
Oh,
know,
very cool. I
bunch of
like
New
it.
Yorkers, a guy from the Bronx
It's
going
a
to
great mission.
Boston, you
Yeah.
know, and being careful, as my son would say, Daddy, just don't talk too much. And you know, and I found it at the Sea Loft. I thought that was pretty good, but
Very
I always
nice.
talk about food with people and
Cool.
what they like because I find musicians love to talk about food and restaurants and
Yeah, that,
everything.
we our Buskin and Batteau's uh, wonderful percussionist Marshall Rosenberg passed away last summer.
Oh,
We
I'm
miss him
sorry to
so
hear that.
much, and he contributed so much, and he had so much fun, and helped everybody else have fun. And he was always up to eat, and his favorite time to eat was after the show. So the most people would have a little bite before the show to just have the strength to get through it. But he would have that, and then after the show, he'd want to go for a real meal.
Okay. Yeah.
He could tell you
Yes.
where to go at midnight or
He was a
three.
great percussionist. I remember the night that I worked with you guys, and
Yeah,
I remember the crowd really enjoying him. And
yeah. He connected with
yeah,
people.
yeah, he was a real entertainer, and the three of
Hmm.
you up there on that stage, it was
Hmm.
wonderful show
Yeah,
to to watch.
such a good time. We've had so much fun, and we're so lucky to have had it. And hopefully, David will feel better, and we'll be able to do some more shows. So we'll see.
All right. Well, Robin, this has been a fun conversation. I appreciate all the time you gave me.
Brian, delighted to meet you. Delighted to see you again, rather, and I'm delighted to be here. It's such a treat.